Alright, Family 4 back with you once again for another review on the bench. This time, whoa, we got another trail camera. I am falling in love with trail cameras. We live about half a block from a ravine here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and gotta tell you, there's a lot of wildlife down there that you wouldn't know was there if you didn't have a camera like this to set out at night, or in my case, several. I love these trail cams. We bought a few of them now. I don't know, I got 3 or 4 of them, and I was contacted by the university locally to use some of the footage we get from these because it is actually so awesome. They shoot in 1080p, which I don't know if you remember the old days of these cameras. It wasn't that good. These are full color 1080p. The footage and the photos from these is actually quite good. Let's touch on a few things of these, and then we're going to take it out, set it up in the ravine for a couple of days here, and then I'll throw that footage on at the end of this video. So quite quickly here, we have the camera. There it is. We have the motion sensor up top. We have some monitoring buttons here. And then this area here is an LED, there's an LED lighting system behind there that is invisible to the human eye. Now, that's important for a couple of reasons. If you're just trying to get animals, great. Animals don't care really about this light. I haven't seen them react too much to it. However, and they probably can see it, this is a near infrared light that humans can't see. Having said that, if someone sees this, this is a smart looking camera sitting on a tree down in the ravine with nobody around to shoo them away. They're probably going to grab it and run home with it. So this is nice to have, this called blackout type LED system on here. The other ones don't have a blackout. The other models don't have the blackout, so you can see when it's operational. I don't like that as much. I like this being blacked out like that. Opening it up, fairly straightforward. Let me get a little bit zoomy on this so you can see what I'm doing here. It does not come with an SD card. This one uses the bigger SD card, and there it is there. So I've just thrown in an 8 gig SD card. That seems to be sufficient for what we're doing. Couple of days and couple of nights of filming, and it never fills up the card. The battery compartment, so first complaint would be this SD card is difficult to get out. Maybe it's just my big fat fingers. The other complaint I have about this is opening this. Now that I'm used to it, it's not too bad. And you need this plate. I left it off and the batteries jiggled free, and it doesn't work if the batteries aren't attached, come to find out. So as you see here, I've got 4 batteries installed. You can install 4 here, or 8. But you can't install 2 here and 2 here. It has to be in 2 different banks because they're wired separately. So you can use 4 or 8. That's about it for that. Make sure you use this case, even though it's a little bit annoying to open. You'll get used to it. Get a fingernail underneath there, and it does pop open fairly easily. I left it out once, like I said, and it didn't work so well for me. Make sure the SD card is inserted all of the way, and you can't probably see this in the video, but off, setup, and on. So we're going to move the switch 1 point to the middle, which is setup, and I'll get you to have a look at the startup screen. It's you judge for yourself. Here it goes. So, I mean, it's a great picture, but the startup sound just kind of seems like it cuts off somewhere in mid-sentence or mid-ring. So there you can see my hand back there, right? So at this point, we're in setup mode, and this is where we can enter the menu and double press. So menu has mode. What mode is it going to shoot in? Is it going to shoot in, you can do photos and video, or just photos. So I like to do camera and video. I like to take a picture. But for this, what we're looking for is video, because the university here wants video, so we're going to stay with that. So photo size, I always go to the maximum. You can go down to 0.5 megabytes. That's a tiny little photograph, not very dense. 2, 5, 8, or 10 megapixels. So I always shoot at the maximum quality, and that way you end up with a good quality product in the end. Video size, same thing. 1080, I shoot in the highest resolution you can. It also does 720, WVGA or VGA. 1080 is the one I go with. These cards are so cheap these days, why not shoot in the maximum size, right? So picture number, so how many pictures does it take? 1, 2, or 3? I just go for 1. I need 1 at a time. Video length, I've got it set at 30 seconds. That goes all the way up to, let's just see how far it goes. I think at 3 minutes there was the longest video you could do. So You know what, I find that 30 seconds is a good length of time, because if there's nothing there, then it's only 30 seconds of nothing there. Maybe I'll shoot that up to 45, because if there is something there, it's nice to have a solid 45 seconds of continuous video of it, depending on what you're doing, of course. Moving along, interval 20 seconds. So I've got that set at 20 seconds. That's you can set that at whatever you want. Periodic interval. So this is for when it'll take a picture at periodic times during the day. I don't want it to do that, of course. How do I get back to menu? There we go. So shutter, this is the video shutter speed. So 1/30th of a second is a good shutter speed. I would like to see that be able to do automatic, but we'll keep it at 130. Timestamp, I want that on. There's only two settings, on or off. I want that on, so that displays the time and date in the bottom corner of the screen. Oh, I've pushed menu again. Let's go back up from the bottom, see if we can get back to... There is a bunch of things in here. So we were at shutter, timestamp, time switch. That's either on or off. We'll keep that off. Password set, so you can set a password so people can't access it. I'm not worried about that. Serial number set, so that's the serial number on the photos. We don't want that. Flashlight. Now, this is so high or low. I find the LEDs on this to be quite high. I mean, if you set it to high, it's going to be really bright. So I'm going to set it to auto and see how it can do. Volume recording. So this is your audio, on or off. I like to have a little bit of audio just in case I hear some noise that might be interesting for the video. What else do we have here? Volume of play is normal, high, or low. So that's when you're replaying the video. Just keep it at normal, I think. Auto power off, 5 minutes, I think. What are the options there? 10 or off. So 5 minutes is what it comes as. We'll leave it there. Backlight time, and that's this screen up here. We'll leave that for 1 minute. It'll go off after 1 minute. Set the clock, that's where you set it. I've already done that. Format, you can format all the images, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that because this is a new SD card I just put in. Now we got to go back to our menu. And then your system information. So firmware update, it comes with a USB thing you can plug right in there and update the firmware. That's incredible. And the firmware version I have is the T70180913. So there you have it. That's the menus. Beyond that, you have different modes. So currently we're in video mode. There's camera mode and back to video mode. So those are the two modes. You can take a picture. If we go into camera mode, you can take a picture, just clickety-boo like that, and you can see a picture of my finger and the cord back there. That's that. And then for playing the images, you can actually look at the images by pushing play. It's going to say, oh, there's one, you can see, and there's nothing to move around in there because I only have the one image. So that is that. Let's take this thing out in the field. Well, let's figure out how to get out of the menu first. Oh, delete. Good idea. Sure. All. Yes. Yes. No file. That's right, there's no file. So let's take this thing out into the field. I'll turn it off for now. So when you're going to use it, see again, I think they could have done better with that. When you're going to use it out in the field, you'll switch it right over to on, and that activates it. And I believe you have 15 or so seconds to close the door, lock it up with both locks. It even has a space here that you can lock it, keep it closed so somebody can't tamper with it. If somebody wants this, they're just going to take the cord off the tree and run with it. Having said that, I suppose you could run a cable through there, etc., etc. if you want to get, if you're using it as a security device. I suppose that might be a valid point. Let me zoom back just a little bit. We have a 1/4 inch 20 thread mount there, as well as those. Those are standard tripod mounting threads, so you can use those with existing tripod mounts, or this is where we bring the box in and show you what's in it. We have a bunch of documentation. We also have some other mounting hardware, and I don't use this stuff. I only use the included cord. So let's just open this up quickly and have a look. Depending on your application, you may decide to permanently mount this thing, and if you do, you can mount some screws to the wall or to whatever your structure is, and then this will thread in there and lock in there. Oh, with using this side, it has a double locking system. And then the other end of this lock threads into here, and then there's just a thread locker on there. So you could use a portion of this or all of this to mount it however you see fit. I just use the strap around a tree. That seems to work for us. Having said that, I know there's places you don't have trees or stuff to strap to, so this is a good option. It includes some rather cheap but functional drywall inserts there and some screws. So that you can play with, figure that out, and you can use that. So that's the mounting hardware. This was mounted inside, it just tells you to put a memory card in there. Take off all the protective films. I've already done that because we've already used this a little bit. There's films on all of these. You need to peel it off so they don't get scratched. You can see this has some cream and stuff on it. I need to clean that. Remove all the LED flashes, can maximum. Okay, so when the batteries get low, it shoots in black and white. I haven't experienced that yet because the batteries seem to last a long time. So the infrared lighting system really affects the longevity. Oh, it's Octune, so it's also in German. That's good. So the quick operator's manual for the T70 is included here. This just goes through some quick startup, how to use it quickly, how to go through it and get it set up quickly. The stock settings for this thing are quite usable, quite good. We fooled around with it a little bit in the backyard, just trying to get the cat to walk by it. But we liked using it in the ravine. And when you do specific use of this thing, you'll want to set it up to your specific needs. So there you go. It's got some troubleshooting stuff there. That's the quick version. There's a little thank you gift card thing in there. If you open that up, there's a little surprise for buying. That's quite nice. And here's the in-depth manual. Now this goes right into all of the programming and everything. Talks about the video resolutions, how to set it up, how to mount it, goes through everything. So quite thorough, and the English in this is quite good actually, I must say. I've had some complaints in the blast about these Chinese companies, but you know what, this one is, the English is quite good. Very easy to, I mean there's the odd grammatical thing that you're like, what? But for the most part, fairly easy to understand. So the user manual is good. Oh, there's the sticky things. Now the user manual is also in, let's go to the front page and we can tell you what languages we have, or can we? No, we have to go by each language. So French, Spanish, Italian. So it's in French, Spanish, English, German, French, Spanish, and Italian. So that's pretty complete, I would say. So that's that. One more little item in the box was the USB cord. Now, the USB cord is simply going to be used for firmware updates. There's a little slot in the bottom of it inside, and so you'll be able to do firmware updates. That's actually quite a good thing because as time wears on, things change, technology improves, you're going to want to be able to update the firmware on this. So this is quite a good thing actually, not to be overlooked. Okay, let's take this thing out into the field. I don't need any of this stuff. Like I said, I just use this strap, and on the T70, I must say, this strap is really, really long. In fact, I'm going to measure it right now and put the dimensions. The length of it is right here. So that's quite long. That's a huge tree or whatever you want to wrap around. We have not too big of trees here in Edmonton, but like I say, all I use is the strap. And the camouflage coloring is nice. However, this time of year, it's mighty gray out there. This is more of a green gray. So we'll see if it blends in. If it doesn't, we may have to do some sort of camouflage around it, being careful not to block the camera or the sensors. So let's go out and get this thing installed in the bush and get some video footage.